Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Hi, Greg McAfee here, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show, where we're going to discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. Today, we're going to be discussing 2 silent killers of small business. So let's get started. So there's 2 silent killers of small business, and if they're silent, many people don't know about them. They continue on running their business. They start off at it's a natural high to start a business. You're basically 100 mile an hour. You don't know what you don't know, and a lot of people. They get going on this business and they do their best to make things happen. And I mentioned once before, the first thing that's going to happen in most businesses, now there's different kind of businesses that you can't service your family or you can't service your friends, and you've really got to go out and make things happen. And a lot of times you basically borrow or steal customers from your previous employer. And that's not cool, but that does happen. Happens every day. We had a sheet metal shop going on for many years. It was called New Fab Sheet Metal. And here at McAfee Heating and Air, we called it New Fab, N-U-F-A-B, because I really didn't want everyone to know that I owned it. So we called it New Fab Sheet Metal. I put it in a different location downtown next to close to the supply houses so everybody could be en route to pick up their custom sheet metal for each job. And along the way, we bought this building that we're in, 30,000 square foot building, and I decided just to go ahead and move the sheet metal shop into this building just so we could put everything under one roof. Long story short, the sheet metal shop manager decided that he didn't want to work under the McAfee headquarters anymore. I guess maybe because he was being watched more now than what he was over there on his own. But anyway, he decided to talk to a competitor, not even a competitor, I'm sorry. He decided to talk to one of my customers that we were providing work for, and they got together and they decided to start their own sheet metal shop. So he left, and they started a sheet metal shop under their name. And not only did I lose a customer, I lost an employee. And but I can say this: it's been great. It was a blessing in disguise, and we carried on and continue to prosper. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times people leave a company, and then they take some of those customers because they might say, hey, I can do this work cheaper and I can do the same work. I've been doing it all these years. So that does happen. So we're going to talk about the silent killers of a business as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And the first one is going to be pride. Pride destroys you and it destroys a business. And let me tell you how. Number one, confidence is a good thing. You've got to have confidence. If you're going to run a business and you're going to have people and you're going to have customers, you've got to have confidence that you can serve them and serve them well. And nothing wrong with confidence. However, when it creates an ego and you think that you're doing everything perfectly and it creates an ego that gets in the way, that's when pride comes in. And pride will destroy you and your business. Pride also gets in the way when you make big decisions without getting any help. And getting any help means without counsel. It can also mean, and then I referred to ego. When you think that you're making all these decisions without getting good counsel, see your ego. We are not great as entrepreneurs. We are not great at everything. And if you think you are, you've got an ego problem and pride is getting in your way, and eventually it will take you down. We're not great at everything, and actually our decisions should not trump everyone else's. Yes, my name's on the door. Yes, I'm 100% owner of this thing. Other than God owns my business and I just manage it. If you've heard previous podcasts, I've talked more about that. But I'm the owner of McAfee Heating and Air. On paper, I own it all, right? But number one, I refer and get help from God. I read a lot of biblical business devotionals. I pray often, and I need His guidance in order for me to run a successful business. But I also need the guidance and the opinions of my team, my leadership team. I refer to them often. Before I just go out and do something, just because I can, doesn't mean I should. So I get a lot of good counsel. I've got mentors, I've got a board of advisors, and I have my leadership team. And I will run any big decision by all of them first before I just go out and jump. And jumping doesn't get you too far. It's not a good jump at times. So, and you don't always know, when pride gets in the way, you don't always know when to pull the plug on something. So just a quick story. Years back, I had purchased a window and door company. I purchased it from a friend who actually did the windows and doors on a home that I lived in. And I thought it was a good opportunity. I thought I could run it just like McAfee. I thought I could turn it around. It wasn't doing extremely well. I thought I could turn it around and really make this thing grow and prosper. And I probably did not get enough counsel for doing that, because if I would have, I probably wouldn't have purchased it. So I purchased it, and I realized running a group of subcontractors is nothing like running a business where you actually hire people and have employees. Totally different. And I learned the hard way. But I was determined, get that? I was determined to make this thing work, until a good friend of mine asked me, when are you going to pull the plug on this thing? It's draining you financially. And I pulled the plug on it after that right away. But it took someone asking me that. Was it a little bit of pride that, oh, Greg, if you pull the plug on this thing, you could be a failure. People will think that you failed in this business. And you know what? McAfee's pretty darn successful. I've got a lot of guidance in this area at McAfee. A lot of decisions, most of the decisions I've made at McAfee, I've gotten good counsel. So if anyone wants to think I'm a failure because this company I purchased didn't work, then I'm okay with that. And that's where I had to be. I did not let my ego get in the way after that. I did not let pride get in the way after that. And I was willing to say I made a mistake and I purchased this business that I didn't know enough about, and it didn't work. And lesson learned, and it's definitely helped me today. And also, a lot of people let pride get in the way when they don't know when to exit the company, and they just continue to stay in the company, and they get in people's way. I've coached several people who they're the first generation. The first generation is still involved. They were supposed to retire, and they still stay in there, and they're still trying to make the decisions, and they're getting in the way of either the second generation or the new owner, whoever that might be, and they don't know when to exit, and they don't know when to retire because they're too prideful, and they let that ego get in the way that this thing won't work without them. And I got news for you, folks. It actually works better without you. So know when to know that when confidence gets in the way, it becomes an ego problem. Know when to get help when making bigger decisions, and know when to pull the plug when you have a bad idea and know when to exit your company. So that's where pride gets in the way. Now, I can talk about that for a long time. I could go on and on about prideful things that we do as business owners. And if you read my book, there's a section in there about pride and how we think power, when power goes to our head, it causes a lot of problems. This is my book, Build and Grow Your HVAC Business. But I can tell you this, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you're a landscaper, a lawn care guy, if you're a roofer, if you're a remodeler, this book's for you. It has very little to do with heating and air. It's small business growth and building. So it's how I took $274 and turned it into a multi-million-dollar company in Dayton, Ohio. So I said there are two silent killers to a small business. And the first one is pride. And the second one is complacency. And complacency always, most of the time, I don't want to say always, most of the time, complacency follows what? It follows success. So you're doing really well. You're making things happen. You've grown this business. It's been very prosperous. And you've won a lot of awards. You've conquered your goals. You've made things happen. People are telling you, I never thought you would get this far. And it starts going to your head until one day you get extremely comfortable. You bought the boat. You've bought the big truck. You've bought the sports car. You've bought the big house. And you unfortunately, you get very comfortable. And things don't happen when you're comfortable. And I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but when you get comfortable, someone like you comes along and they make things happen and they blow you away. Okay, that happens every single day. I was one of those guys that came from the bottom and just kept coming up and coming up from number 500, 489 company out in Dayton, Ohio. 489, to 480 to I should say up here, 489 to 470 to 400 to 300 to 200 to 100 to number one. Worked hard. Passed all these companies that had been in business 25, 50 years, 75, 100 years. A lot of them are still doing the same thing they've done 50 years ago. It's not working, but good for them. Good for us, rather. But anyway, so when you get comfortable, you get complacent. And when complacency comes in to your life and to your business, it can spread. And it spreads almost throughout your entire company. But I'll tell you why in a minute, why it doesn't spread throughout your entire company. And it doesn't work out well for you or your company. So complacency follows success. What happens is you become content. I've done a lot. I've achieved a lot. I'm just going to sit back for a little while, take a break, and then I'll get back into it. So I'm going to get comfortable. Okay, I'm in the comfort business, so I keep people comfortable. I tell contractors all the time, it's our goal to keep people comfortable. It's my goal as a coach to keep you very uncomfortable if you can't do it yourself. I personally keep myself uncomfortable. I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with certain things I do. Yes, it's great and wonderful, and yes, we hit that goal, but give me a day to celebrate, and the next day I've got a higher goal, and we're going to continue to achieve more. So when you become content, life is good, you start enjoying it, and pretty soon you start tolerating mediocrity. Mediocrity is just doing the same thing over and over. There's no goals to get ahead. It's the comfort zone. It's the medium. There's no doing well, and you're not really doing poor. You're just becoming comfortable. Comfortable is a very scary place to be. When you're comfortable, things aren't happening. When you're comfortable, things aren't growing. When you're comfortable, you're taking too many vacations. You're taking too much time off, and you're probably coming in later in the day. So basically, you take your eye off the ball. You've had your eye on that ball for years, and you've hit some home runs, and you might even hit some grand slams, and you might even have worked your way to number one in your territory. You might even have worked your way to number one in your state. You might even be working your way to number one in the nation. Who knows? There are a couple people out there I know that are pretty darn close to working themselves to the top in the nation, nationally in the United States. When you take your eye off the ball, here's what happens. Your competition starts watching the ball closer. And they start gradually, like I said, taking market share. They start gradually taking market share. Now, they're watching you. Believe it or not, if you don't know this, you need to know this. When you start working your way up to the top, your competition's watching everything you do. They're watching your advertisements. They're watching how you market. They're starting to count your trucks to figure out how many people you have. They're starting to look at your building. They drive by it when you don't know it. They're starting to even talk to some of your employees. They're having their employees talk to your employees, and they find out what's going on. And sometimes they might even say, hey, you want to work for us? Be aware of that, because this is what happens. It happens every single day. It's happened to me. I didn't necessarily get comfortable, but I might have taken my eye off the ball a little bit. I might have handled things wrong. I might have done a few things, not necessarily wrong, but handled things wrong. I might have managed incorrectly, something like that. And someone comes along at the right time and asks somebody, hey, you want to work for me? I'll give you a few more bucks an hour. You can do this, this, and this that you can't do at McAfee, one of them being smoke in the truck, whatever it might be. That kind of stuff happens. So your competition sneaks in. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. That's why it's called the silent killers. Silent killers of business. That pride sneaks in. You don't even realize it till it's too late. That complacency sneaks in. You don't even realize it until it's too late. After all, your competition's only doing what you used to do. Your competition's only doing what you used to do. You used to be very aggressive. You may have used to come in very early. You took enough vacations with the family, whatever that means. But now you're taking more and more and more, and you're buying more and more stuff. Nothing wrong with stuff, as long as it doesn't own you. Okay? Nothing wrong with owning stuff as long as it doesn't own you. And you've heard the saying, you've heard one saying that says, those who die with the most toys win. It's not really how it goes. Those who die with the most toys still die. Okay? So can't take it with you. Can't take anything with you. And you're going to leave it all to someone. So I hope they enjoy it, right? You begin to lose top performers. So this is what I said earlier. I said you can spread mediocrity throughout your company, but not to everyone, because you've had some top performers and they don't want to catch the bug. They don't want to catch that mediocrity. They don't want to get comfortable. So you know what? They go to another company who's making things happen, who's doing things that you used to do. There was a company here in the Dayton area, in my market, and we compete with them once in a while. And they used to be top dog with the original, when the original owner had the company. They're an older company, and they used to be top dog, and they were one of the largest companies in the Dayton area. And then with ownership changed a couple times, and today they're probably a quarter of the size they used to be. And we only do things today like the original owner did 40 years ago. And he was very aggressive. He was very military. He had order, he had systems in place, and that's exactly the way it is at McAfee. And that's how we like to operate. So we took a lot of that market share over the years. Over the past 20, 25 years, we've taken a lot of market share from that company in particular. So you begin losing top performers because they don't see their job as challenging anymore, and they need to be challenged. So when you get comfortable, you're losing people because they're no longer being challenged. Your comfort, your decision of being complacent, because it is a decision, whether you know you're getting complacent or not, you're choosing to be complacent by the actions and what you're doing to get there. So it's your choice, but you will lose top performers, and then eventually you'll go out of business, or you'll just dwindle down to a very small company to where that's who you are. It's really hard to get back. Now it can be done, but it's really hard to get back. So remember, pride destroys you and your business, and complacency follows success. You become content. Life's good. Let's party. Let's enjoy it. You start tolerating mediocrity. Your competition starts seeing it. They notice it, and they do some things to start taking your market share. It works for them. They're happy. They're making it happen. They're aggressive, just like you used to be. You begin losing top performers, and then pretty soon, it goes away. And, every day is a new day to win. And I challenge guys all the time, put your old trophies in a box and not get rid of them, but put them in a box, put them away. And you don't need any more pats on the back. You've done well, but you've got to motivate yourself, and you've got to surround yourself with people who are motivated. You start surrounding yourself with people that are comfortable, you become comfortable. And now go out and beat yesterday, okay? So before we wrap this up, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating and reviewing this podcast on iTunes, or if you prefer a listening platform. If you want to grow, prosper, and sleep better at night, this is the podcast for you. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show, no spaces or underscores. Be sure to tune in next week when we will discuss why your prices are too low. Thanks for listening, and as always, carry on and have a great day.